our bodies are making themselves every day. We're super alive.
כריסטין קול, ממובילות המחקר המעשי על חינוך וטיפול סומטי, מתרגלת במהלך כל חיי הפרקטיקות מבוססות אלתור ומורה מובילה ל-Body Mind Centering.
This is developmental process is that we learn about different movement patterns as an expression of relationship to ourselves and the world. When we get injured, sometimes we go into a shock and that makes us stop moving. And so even the parts that could remind that part that hurts, those parts stop moving. They forget what health is. If I breathe, it will be okay. You're creating a moving, interactive body that this part can be part of.
כריסטין מגיעה לארץ ותלמד את התוכנית הדו-שנתית ואיתה מורות אורחות נוספות. Welcome to our webcast. I'm happy to invite here Kריסטין Cole. It's here in Israel for coming again and again for
for 2.5 years.
Kריסטין Cole is an experienced somatic teacher and she has her own method. But the fear of the unknown that dwells inside, I'm lonely, but out of all the possible approaches around there about body and mind and connection, how did you come up to choose to dedicate yourself to get deep into this body of work?
I was very young. I was just out of high school, and I went to sign up for the university, and I was living in Germany, and I stood there in line and I looked around and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot just sit around and study in books. I just continue that way. I need a break. So I followed my boyfriend to Freiburg, Germany, and I did some job and I took the dance classes that were offered, and they were improvisation and contact improvisation. And already then, contact improvisation and body-mind centering were very much informing each other. So everyone teaching was talking about Bonnie Bainbridge-Cohen, body-mind centering, and it was an exciting time. And so, and it's true that these teachers took in the somatic work of Bonnie Bainbridge-Cohen and they immediately applied it to movement. And they immediately applied it. Contact improvisation is about relationship. It's about sharing weight, moving. So I was in that field, and I basically caught on fire with this body-mind centering. I'm like, body-mind centering. And so I was like 19 or 20. I taught contact improvisation for a while, and then I went to the source. I went to meet Nancy Stark-Smith. I went to meet Bonnie Bainbridge-Cohen in New York City. And that year they started a new program. So I was 23 and I was doing the work that I just loved. It was clear I wanted to do this. But then later I took a break. Then I had to recommit myself to this work, and that's how I came back. And I wanted to create a new program that was organized a little differently, that gave people a 2-year program. And I worked on what I wanted a program to be in 2 years. And that's how somatic body training became.
The first time I met Kריסטין was actually hurting. I was in a contact festival and it was very special but very slippery. And I came to Kריסטין intensive, and we worked on the bones, and I had like my rib like.
You remember it so clearly. Did you?
Yeah, I really liked notion where when something like delicate is hurt, is not to avoid touching it. It's just to put pressure on it. nurture it, take care of it, notice it, know how exactly it looks like from inside, like investigate it, and not like take the action of not taking action, of avoiding. Okay, this hurts, let's not touch it, let's not move, let's not do anything. So it was like the opposite. It was move it, touch it, see how it goes.
Breathe, keep breathing.
Yes.
That's a really important concept, that when we get injured, sometimes we go into a shock, and that makes us stop moving. And so even the parts that could remind that part that hurts, those parts stop moving. They forget what health is. So, and we're like, don't touch it, it might break. So it's like, oh no, if I breathe, it will be okay. And it doesn't mean you're going to push it a lot or move it a lot, but you're creating a moving, interactive body that this part can be part of, like a little baby part of a family. And the rest of the family will move, and then it can find its way again. But if we follow the shock and we let that screaming baby shut everything down, then the baby is alone, or the broken rib. So it's a beautiful concept. The Somatic Body program exists now 10 years. It will be running this next time in Israel, the 5th time. And I have had the ability to go to different countries and teach, not just the program. Right now, what I'm thinking is, like right now when I put out the application, one person just wrote, body, 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 body. There's such an urgency to get away from what you're calling the mind, unconnected. People are stressed. People get, even embodied programs are not embodied. They're different knowledge that you need to learn. Even meditation can be minded, where you're counting and you're not really arriving in the body with joy and playfulness and clarity and the developmental movement. So I have to say that's been growing in all countries. When I came to Israel and it was my first time 3 years ago, and I taught embryology, and it's almost like I was repatterning the nervous system. Like you guys, and that's what embryology can offer. And like Israel, I'm getting to know Israel, but it was astonishing to me as an American to come here and see all the fences and all, the constant alertness of possible attack, which we don't live under. We live under fear of maybe being robbed or something, but not this amount. So I did notice that in my classes, I was doing something, and one thing I was doing was going to the embryology, but going to the fluids.
Tell us about embryology. How does it connect?
Yeah, well, the nervous system wasn't what created an embryo. The cells create embryo in conversation with each other. So when you go through it, I saw that Israelis were going a level deeper in trust, going a level deeper in trusting that their body and our bodies are making themselves every day.
Yeah.
We're super alive, and cells are growing and dying all the time. And sometimes we feel like we have to do something to stay alive, or every day, every moment. And we have to protect it. And in embryology, you don't. The embryo creates its own trophoblast. It creates its own cells that bring the nutrients in. And only within that shell, in that protected inner world that's being fed and that's brought fluid in, that's where we develop. And maybe that's what happened. Like we created this outer structure of nutrient-rich cells, and within that we could be like, we can actually experience ourselves as whole and as alive and as safe. That is important to me. I just came from Russia, and I was like, can I teach somatics when people are in war? And so Russians are incredible students. And they do exactly what you say, and they love the depth, and they love that I laugh. Many people say, I come to you because you laugh. And I think it's just because I knock them off their seriousness of learning. I'm like, oh. And they're surprised, like, how can I learn if I'm laughing or having fun or dancing? And I'm like, how can you not? And so the Russians have, like the Israelis, a very deep soul. So I feel comfortable teaching. Like I don't have to pretend it's all just words or descriptions. It's actually deeply connected to our roots as a human. But the Russians, so the Russians had to almost let go of this control. And when they did, I was there with the developmental movement and the play. And so it was, I miss being able to go there and teach. I would like to show you how we tone into the organs to get a more three-dimensional sense of our torso. And you can just take your hands and put them on anywhere in your body. You know that within the pelvis and within the rib cage, they're packed full with organs. And so if I have my hand here, which I'm not very good at touching front and back, but here it goes. The lungs go all the way to the top of the ribs. And here, I want you to tune into maybe the smallest movement, not the biggest movement. So in your mind, don't recommend or say bigger is better. Just go with your awareness and the gentleness of your hand and your attention. And just knowing that there is breath, there is air being brought to the lungs, and it will change the volume and fill the rib cage, even way up here. And so it's not about making it happen, it's about discovering it. And perhaps there was a movement that happened for me just a moment ago, perhaps there's a movement that arises. And I've chosen this part because we often think of breathing here or here, but way up here we might have to have patience. And we don't want to divert our attention to the bigger, more moving parts. We want to give the areas that don't know themselves a chance. Then you might want to take something like the gut. And here you might want to just maybe massage. It's okay for body work. Even meditation to feel good. Just take a little massage front and back, a little lifting, releasing, breathing in, breathing out. And then just staying there. And this is cellular. This is where we trust the cells between our hands to be alive, to advocate for themselves, to be able to initiate movement from any place, and to become aware. And it might also inspire you to feel the lightness of your neck if this part has support. And so this is something you can do in a quiet mode, with a gentle attention and a kindness and an acceptance of where every cell is. Doesn't mean you can't also move. Like, we sometimes touch things and we're like, oh gosh, yes. Don't take that away from yourself. Don't inhibit it. Just let it happen. Okay, and now you might want to go back to a slower, meditative, gentle attention. You can choose any place for yourself, and then just get up and walk around. See if that feels differently. You could roll and then get up, walk around. I offer you this for the morning or for the evening, and as a structure to ask the body and to trust the body and to go to the cells versus go to the enmindment of the body, the visualization, the expectation of what can come. So this exercise lets you have enough time to find what's really there. The Somatic Body program is starting, and it prepares you over 2 years to have a somatic practice.
Yes, so Kריסטין, why don't you tell us about the program that you're coming, some words about who's teaching with you, and the field of people that are professional, like if I were a psychotherapist working with words, like what will it bring to me, as well as for someone who's just interested to be more aware of our body. So just tell us a bit about the program.
So this program is a 500-hour program that I have licensed it through ISMETA, which is the International Somatic Movement Association, which means that once you graduate in this program, you are accepted into this international somatic field as a professional. And I value and honor the ISMETA, the International Somatic Movement Association, and they value our program.
That's great.
So 500 hours in 2 years means that you meet 12 times every 2.5 months, 5 times a year, and that you go through the first year of the development of the baby in the first year of the program. So we go through the steps. We go from embryology to all the different movements that a baby makes. What's nice is that, like, sometimes you're left for 2 months in a state, for example, you might be left in the state of spinal before you have limbs and like a lot of attention to the outside. You have this inner sense of an axis, of yourself in an axis. And I've heard many lovely stories from students after this one that it's like, I really knew my center. And so this is developmental process, is that we learn about different movement patterns as an expression of relationship to ourselves and the world. So when you're in your spine, you're not reaching, you're actually developing your own core. So this program, when you get through all the different anatomies and developmental processes, I have people use it as therapists. I have people start their own movement programs. I have people start clinics, or they add to their Pilates practice. Therapists tell me again and again that they feel they really want to offer their clients a toolbox of embodiment, and without having to break out of their talk therapy, their presence and their skills to assess their client just skyrockets. I have people that have worked with babies in Russia. I have 2 women that joined that work with babies with strong disabilities. And their practices like tripled in that time because we give them the tools. I have dance teachers and dancers who finally had the guts, finally had the courage to go out and make a dance video, to make a big dance performance. And then I have so many people that just say their lives have changed. Like one woman comes to me, she's like, I wasn't sure I should teach, but all these women are coming to me. They're like, oh, you're so beautiful. What are you doing? How are you? I just noticed you. You're just aglow. And this person was such a complex thinking person. I laughed when she came. She was very like, she tested me. She was thinking around 3 corners all the time. She was brilliant. And then she came, and she's still brilliant. But people are like, she has this like practice of women's groups now. So this is part of the program where we guide you, and I interact. I give you like a personal part of the program is having a one-on-one with me about your career. So in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end, you have conversations with me, and we look at what has changed. What do you notice about who you really are, and what aligns now for you in the world, and what does that mean? Like, what will people be drawn to? Not what you think you should be doing, or, but like what is really happening, and it's been beautiful to see people find their niche, people find their calling, and really it's then other people respond to it right away, and people have businesses. I teach you how to have a somatic business in the 2nd year, like those things we think are stupid but are really essential. How to write a workshop, how to figure out prices, how to things. So this gem of a training that's still going doesn't leave you alone with the material. It really brings you like, if you want, you integrate it into your work. If you want, you could start something new. So yeah, you can come for this module, which is a beautiful intensive, and almost each one in the 1st year you can come and take an intensive. You can get to know me and the cool team I have teaching with me.
Tell us about the team.
Oh my God, Rivi, that's part of being here in Israel. Suddenly I have a team. I have Cavita, who's created this new dance studio in the north that we can have our program be part of, and she's teaching somatically, so it will become the center, I'm for sure. And I have Michal Yarkoni, who's been so generous to just introduce me to her students. And her students are dedicated to her. And Michal Yarkoni was my student. And we grew to love each other. And I'm very touched that she's very happy and supportive of this program being here. And it's bringing together the body-mind centering people. So I'm sorry I'm bad with last names. So there's Liat, there's Tamar that have done the body-mind centering program and will be assisting, and anyone else who's done the body-mind centering program who would like to assist, and come talk to me.
Invitation.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'd like to get to know you. It's creating it's sort of an aliveness of freshening of the BMC people. And I want to say Nitzan Lederman.
Yes.
Nitzan Lederman, who's my co-founder of the Israeli program, who's talking with everyone, who's an access syllabus teacher, who's an amazing person, and who I've trained personally with two Russian, Anna Titova and Artem Markov, who hopefully will be flying in sometimes, who are my other top teachers. So Nitzan Lederman is also a bit of a specialist in endocrine and in embryology. So look forward to that.
I'm looking forward.
Yeah. She's... If you are willing to play, and if you really want to take this opportunity to study body-mind centering, it starts now.